I love the floppiness of this. It's just like very satisfying. Hey guys, welcome back to Jessin Reads Romance. I'm Jessin. Today we're going to be talking about the new Netflix series Bridgerton and comparing it to the source material. Since we are going to be talking about the series as a whole, because I am only doing a review for the complete and total season 1, I'm also going to be mentioning stuff that happens in the books and in the next books in the series, because all of the siblings are introduced. Some things are definitely planted for the next season, so there will be spoilers throughout the whole entire series. If you don't want spoilers throughout the whole series, then this is not the video to watch. There wasn't a lot of pre-planning before I sat down to do this video. I'm just really excited. After finishing the whole entire season 1, I was just like, I need to talk about it. I need to talk about what happened in the series, how it differs from the book, what I really love that they did, that they took from the book and they made it come to life. Like, that is one of the most satisfying things, to see something that happened in a book and then see it on the TV screen and be like, ah, perfection. I'm here to talk about all that, and yeah. In the opening credits sequence, which is only featured on the very first episode, and you don't get the full thing for the rest of the episodes, which I thought was fine. I mean, I do like some opening credit sequences, but I know that not a lot of people want to sit through that. But I was definitely one of those people for Game of Thrones that I was like invested in every single one. One of my favorite things about the opening sequence was the little nod to the bees, and it happens throughout the entire series, but I was really excited because the rest of the things that popped up on this tree, which I really thought was a wonderful symbolism of family, lineage, legacy, duty, all of that. I really liked it. Most of the aspects that popped up from the tree were just scenes, future scenes from the rest of the series, but that beehive and the bee was a nice little nod to a lot of Anthony's story, actually. We also get a nice little cute bee on the door knocker for the Bridgertons when all the families are being introduced. The main two families that we follow are the Featheringtons and the Bridgertons, because those are the two families that have daughters who are eligible for this year's season. Other notable characters are Simon, of course, the recently returned Duke of Hastings. His father has just died. He has just inherited the title, the dukedom, which he really doesn't want. Lady Danbury, which I absolutely loved her character in the books, and I really loved her character in the TV show. And Queen Charlotte, which is a complete departure from the books. I really liked her involvement throughout the rest of the series. I like her investment in the social season and the debutantes, who was the diamond of the first water and who was going to make the most ambitious match. So I really liked all of that, those aspects. Very interesting. We have a departure from the book with Daphne's character. I did enjoy that the presentation of all the debutantes to the Queen. Of course, King George III is notably absent because he has mental health issues, which were touched on nicely throughout the series. I wasn't expecting any of that. I thought that he would be absent throughout the entire thing. That's a whole nother conversation, because you get a lot of depth and understanding with those scenes with Queen Charlotte, and I really like that she wasn't just this figurehead representing the monarchy, and she's capricious and she's meddlesome. I really liked the depth that we get with her, but again, this is not structured, so I might be jumping all over the place a lot throughout this video, so forgive me. While the Featheringtons don't make a great impression, Daphne certainly does. The Queen singles her out and basically says, like, yeah, this girl right here, she has it. She's probably going to be, you know, snapping up all the bachelors left and right. In the books, Daphne is very sociable and she's friends with like a lot of the guys, and none of them actually view her as an interesting marital prospect. But she's like the girl next door. Everyone really likes her, but she's not like the challenge, the catch of the season in the books. And that really plays interestingly into Anthony's character. So Anthony Bridgerton is the Viscount. He's the head of family, and he has been the head of family for a really long time, since the death of his father, which wasn't really a big part of season 1. I'm hoping that they're saving that for season 2, which again, it's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out, but I'll get to that later. What I find interesting is the relationship between Anthony and Daphne in season 1, especially in the very first few episodes. In the book, Anthony is like an indulgent brother. Daphne has had tons of marriage proposals, and Anthony has allowed Daphne to turn them down. So he's a very good big brother. He's protective, but the show decides to double down on that overprotectiveness and that I know best, and let me interfere kind of thing. Like, I'm the older brother and like none of these men are good enough for you, basically. Let me chase them all away. They doubled down on that to the point where Anthony, which I already thought from the books themselves, is kind of an asshole character. A lot of people don't really love his character. I love his character. I'm a notorious Anthony stan. I love The Viscount Who Loved Me. It's my favorite book of the series, and I will die on this hill. I love Anthony and I love Kate. We'll get on that later. So yeah, I was like, God dang, Anthony can't even like let this girl live, can't let her dance at all on her first ball. Lots of men are showing interest and he is cutting them down, saying like, nope, not that one. Nope, not that one. Heck no. And you know what? We should return home right now and like keep them all wanting. You don't want to like give in to them too easily, and I'm sure they'll come to call the next day, and of course the next day he runs them all out anyway. Also, a little side note, I really love all of the instrumental pieces of like the modern music. Like Thank You Next was like the first one that we hear in that ball scene where Daphne unfortunately does not get to dance, and I really enjoyed that. It was a really fun aspect of it. Oh, and before I move on too far into the characters and the storytelling, I do have to mention that this is one of the most beautiful series ever. You know that this thing was dang expensive to produce because every single scene, the sets are amazing. I love the drawing rooms. The Bridgertons and the Featheringtons drawing rooms were one of the most important sets. We were in them a lot. Every single social gathering was phenomenal. It was so extravagant, so amazing to look at. I feel like I had to like pause on my second viewing so that I could just like admire everything. I was just like, wow, this is amazing. All the costumes, amazing. We do get a little bit of a different meet cute for Daphne and Simon, but I was very excited. Lots of people did comment on my previous videos that Daphne does still get to punch Nigel, which I really enjoyed, but they made Nigel into a much more villainous character than it was in the book. He was more of a buffoon. He didn't have a lot of smarts. They played him up as a little bit more of a sinister buffoon in this one, which I don't know if I loved because I kind of like having Nigel as this comedic relief within the series, which he's not like totally prominent in the books, but he does pop up every once in a while. Overall, I really liked what they did with Simon and Daphne's story. I really like all of the scenes in London where Simon is like, this is going to be great for both of us if we pretend to be courting and none of the mamas will be after me because they'll think that I'm seriously considering you, and you will be more interesting because it's like, oh, she has caught the interest of the Duke. Maybe I should give her a second chance, a second look, and we'll kind of bypass Anthony's overprotective, overbearing brother tendencies. I absolutely swooned during the scene where they were dancing for the first time and he's like, we must pretend to be madly in love, and I'm just like, yes, yes. Oh, so good. When he whispers, it's just so good. I love it. I absolutely love it. So their relationship pretty much plays out how it does in the book. Of course, some scenes are a little bit different, but in general, up until the compromising scene where Simon and Daphne share a passionate embrace in the garden and are caught by Anthony, which that's also different because all the brothers catch her with Simon, not just Anthony, but it's fine. Anthony's like, enough. There were a couple of departures, some that I liked and some that grew on me and some that I disliked. I love Queen Charlotte's obsession with Lady Whistledown. Like, that was just really fun. The queen wants to be mentioned and she's like, yes. Now, Anthony and Sienna, he does have the opera singer as his mistress in the book, but Anthony's entire storyline is built on the fact that he only enters into sexual relationships with women who understand the score, and he's biding his time until he needs to find a wife and do his duty. He's having fun. He's sowing his wild oats like the actor who plays Anthony says in the series. But interestingly enough, they made his and Sienna, the opera singer's relationship, very prominent throughout the first season. And I don't know if I like that. I did talk this over with Jen, and I'm definitely biased because Anthony and Kate's story is one of my favorite stories. Sienna does make a appearance in that book, in The Viscount Who Loved Me, but it was very brief, and it was completely understood that Anthony was just having fun with Sienna. They had some good times. They were very sexually compatible, but that was as far as it goes. And once it comes down to it, he had no problem cutting Sienna off once he was committed. to marrying. Though all of the scenes between Sienna and Anthony were sexual in nature, very passionate, I do feel like there was an emphasis on Anthony pining after Sienna. There was tons of longing looks towards her once they decided to call it quits. They reconnected at one point, and it seemed like Anthony was ready to kind of not throw it all away, but court gossip and kind of bring Sienna into the fold, the Bridgerton fold, be like, this is the person that I choose. And Sienna is the one to reject him in the end, but they are both like heartbroken about the situation, and it pains me. It pains me to see Anthony so in love with someone who's not Kate. And people may argue and say that, oh, he wasn't in love with Sienna herself, maybe the idea of her, whatever. But the fact that he let himself get so emotionally involved with someone is completely the opposite of what Anthony's character is in the book. He has had no emotional entanglements up to this point, up to the point that he meets Kate. And he resists Kate so hard because he can feel that something's different with her. So I don't know how that's going to play out in the series. But yeah, of course I'm going to be more judgmental about my favorite couple and anything that gets in the way of their HEA. And again, one of the things that I said was the only thing that I'd be very upset about is if they changed the love interest of the series. If they change any of the couples in the books, I won't be happy. These books, you invest your time into the characters, not just the story. So when you don't see the character that you have obsessed over for years and you know their relationship like the back of your hand, they decide to completely change that in a series, a TV series, an adaptation, then no, I'm not going to be happy about it. I'm not. Those are the things that make the book, the couples in the romance make the book. I don't want the couples to change because we get invested in our couples in Romancelandia. The couple is what defines the book and their particular journey. So no, I won't be happy if they change that. I won't be happy if they change Anthony and Kate's story. Anyway, let's move on. Another big change in the series is the importance of Marina Thompson. The fact that she is a distant relation of the Featheringtons, and this is the Lord Featherington, instead of the Bridgertons, because in the books, Marina is a relation of the Bridgertons. And Eloise is the one that she kind of like, of course, she like writing down stuff. And later on in the series, we find out that Eloise likes to keep in touch with a lot of people because she just really enjoys having pen pals and writing to people. And she used to write to Marina. So now that Marina is not related to the Bridgertons, there's a romance that's able to happen between her and Colin. But it's not a romance because Marina is in love with Colin. It's because she is pregnant and she needs to marry fast. And I thought that this was interesting. And at first I was not on board with it, but I liked what happened in the end. And I liked the conversation that she and Daphne have in the very like last episode about like, I understand that you were doing what you thought you needed to do to protect yourself, to ensure a good future. And it's not that you don't know that what you're doing is wrong. You do, you realize that, but it's like you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. And I like how they kind of bond, not bond because Marina has no idea what Daphne's going through, but I kind of like that bonding moment between them. So Penelope and Marina get really close. I love the relationship with Penelope and Marina. I love how it evolves once Penelope realizes that Colin Bridgerton is in Marina's sights to become the unsuspecting future husband and father of her child she's already pregnant with. She's going to trap Colin into a marriage to ensure that her reputation stays intact and she's not forced out onto the streets and a ruined woman. Penelope is understandably not on board with this because she is in love with Colin, and it just absolutely breaks my heart. I love Eloise and Penelope, just perfection. Even though I think as a whole, across the board, there was a little bit of overacting, not even just to one particular actor, a couple of them. I think that overall, the performances were pretty satisfying. A couple of missteps, me and Jen did have a laugh over Daphne stomping her foot and saying that she's going to be a princess. That was a little over the top, but Eloise is another one of my favorite characters from the series, and I think that her actress did such a good job. She's so like adorkable. I love her. I love the way that she plays her character. She's so earnest, but so awkward and very passionate about what she wants for her life, which I find very endearing. I really liked her story and like her involvement in her relationship with the Queen, because they both wanted to discover who's Lady Whistledown for different reasons. The Queen because she was kind of snubbed in one of Lady Whistledown's articles. Eloise wants to find out who Lady Whistledown is because she wants Lady Whistledown to rectify the reputations of the Featheringtons after it is revealed through Whistledown that Marina is pregnant, and it thwarts all of Colin's plans to marry her. So Eloise does not want to see her friend suffer, and she wants to find Lady Whistledown because she's like, yes, she needs to change it. Before I start talking about Simon and Daphne and their marriage and the scene, I do want to briefly mention that I found it very interesting that Benedict, the second son, was the son who always had a collar with an embroidered bee. And I'm like, that should be Anthony? Why is Benedict being associated with this bee? I really want to know why that choice was made. Because once I noticed it, I was like, Benedict always has the bee on his collar. Now, let's talk about the marriage. Simon and Daphne get married. After the whole duel scene, I really like the duel scene. Daphne making a split decision at the duel that she does want Simon despite his inability to have kids, which she is very much assuming that it's something that he's incapable of doing, which is important to the entire story. Now we get to all the Cliveden scenes. Lots of time is spent on their romantic relationship once they do get to Cliveden. They're very much on their honeymoon. They're enjoying each other's company. Tons of scenes emphasizing that, yeah, Daphne has no idea what Simon's doing when he's pulling out. Ooh, which reminds me, they put a lot more emphasis on how sheltered young girls are in the ways of the marital bed, how kept in the dark that they are, and that they really rely on their mother the night before their wedding to tell them what's going to go down. And in Daphne's case, she gets no information basically because Violet is too flustered to be able to come out and just say it and tell Daphne the things that she needs to know. She's just hoping that it's going to all work out. You'll see, it's going to be fine. And in this case, it's not fine. But I do like how they bring on Eloise and Penelope into this conversation, because when Portia Featherington finds out that Marina is pregnant and she doesn't want her daughters to associate with Marina, she tells all the girls that pregnancy is catching, and Penelope is so confused by all this. And so she and Eloise have a conversation where Penelope is like, yeah, I didn't even know that you could get pregnant and not be married. Like, I thought that you have to be married to be pregnant. And so they're all wondering how does it work? Eloise is wondering because she's like, how do we avoid this? Like, I don't want, no. If you can just get pregnant and not be married, like, I don't want that. She has aspirations. She has dreams that do not include being married at this point in time, because I definitely like her love story. So there's a lot more emphasis on the ignorance of young girls, which I really liked because it kind of hammers home that this is not just a Daphne problem. This is a social problem, and that it can be pretty harmful to people who enter into the marriage bed, into marriage itself, in this type of ignorance. I would have liked to see more scenes with Simon and Daphne talking about his past themselves, because a lot of what Daphne learns about the relationship between Simon and his father are from third parties. Simon never wants to bring up his father, never wants to be like, hey, we had a terrible relationship. So she learns about it from the housekeeper at Cliveden, later Lady Danbury, and also some letters that Simon as a child wrote to his father. All those scenes just absolutely broke my heart. I couldn't. Baby Simon just broke my heart. But yeah, I definitely want to see Simon and Daphne get to know each other a little bit better, have some more conversations, and not just like really sexy scenes on a library ladder, which I really enjoyed. It reminded me of Atonement, that scene in Atonement, which was a lot more dramatic and stuff, and this one was more fun. So then we get to the scene where Daphne finally realizes that I've been missing something huge this entire time, and this changes everything. A passing comment from the housekeeper leads her to go to her lady's maid to be like, hey, I need details, and like, don't be squeamish, tell me everything. How do you make a baby? Now, the way that this scene was directed to play out, I do like how they did not make Simon drunk. We were missing a scene where Daphne actually confronts Simon before she makes the decision that she was going to have a baby because she thought Simon's reason was stupid. It becomes a little bit more calculated and deliberate in the way that she goes about it, because she's had some time to stew on it by herself. She's looking at her husband in a different way. She does feel stupid and taken advantage of, and oh, what a perfect scenario for you. You were probably never going to tell me that you actually can have kids, but you choose not to, which is a completely different story than I can't have kids. And it really is a different situation and scenario. During the conversation of consent, a lot of people do focus on Simon's lack of consent to what Daphne does. She does not allow him to pull out, and so there is a chance of a pregnancy, something that she really wants, and she feels like this is her due. She should be able to be a mother because Simon had taken away that decision from Daphne. He does have a line where he says like, oh, I thought you knew how it worked, but in their previous encounters, when Daphne is literally like, hey, does that hurt? Like, what's happening? She's obviously very confused and doesn't know anything about the sexual acts. So it's like, Simon, no, she didn't know. And you saying that is kind of gaslighting, saying like, I thought you knew. No. But like I said, throughout this conversation of consent, it's not just one-sided. It's not just Simon does not give consent to Daphne. Daphne also does not give consent to Simon to not have kids, because it's a choice that they're making together in their relationship that, yes, I don't want kids. I don't want kids. That's different from I can't have kids. It really is. So in a different manner, Daphne had also had her consent taken away. And that is not a conversation that's really happening right now. Lots of angry conversations are having. It's not even conversations that are happening on Twitter. Like I said, Twitter's not my favorite place to talk about books because I feel like people can be very all or nothing over there. If you don't agree and view this in the same way that I view it, then I don't want to have a conversation about it, and I'm not interested in that. I want to have a discussion. I want to talk about this. I want to discuss, dissect, and see different perspectives. And my perspective of the scene is that in some ways the scene was better, and in some way I didn't like the changes. In the books, Daphne really confronts Simon about his reasoning for not having children and how the decision to not have children, it's affecting how she feels in the marriage bed, how she feels when they have sex. She does not feel important to Simon while they have sex, because every single time they do have sex, he is thinking at the very end, I must pull out because I made a vow to my father, who I absolutely hated, that I would not have kids and end his line to spite him, because that is his whole reasoning. And I'm not saying that he doesn't have a good reason to hate his father, but to kind of bring Daphne into the situation without her being knowledgeable about it, that's not good. That's not right. And they both make bad decisions. Does that mean that I don't think that they deserve an HEA or that they don't deserve forgiveness? No, I really do think that these characters are deserving of forgiveness. They are deserving of a second chance, and some people may not agree with that, but I mean, I think that the scene that Daphne really tells Simon about himself, explaining where he went wrong and how every little decision that he's making to spite his father, and that is toxic to their relationship. I really wish that more of that was in there. It's kind of in there, but I wanted more. I wanted more discussion. Simon's a little less reactionary, because in the book, he runs away immediately. He wants space away from Daphne. It gives him a little chance to breathe, and then it happens a lot closer to the end of the book, whereas in the show, it's dragged on for quite a bit more. The level of animosity between them that's like kind of brewing is a lot more pronounced, which I wouldn't mind, but I feel like by the end of the show, by the end of the very last episode, they finally get on the same page, but I don't feel like there was enough of a catalyst and for Daphne to be like, I understand why you took such drastic measures to not have kids. It literally happened after their party got rained on, and Simon was looking lovingly at Daphne, just like being like, oh my God, this is hilarious. And he was just like, oh, epiphany. With the rain comes an epiphany, or rebirth of their marriage, whatever. I just didn't feel like it was enough. Simon's decision in the book to go forward and let his father go and not affect his relationship with Daphne and allow himself to be happy and have a family was a lot more deliberate in the book than it was in the TV show. One of the scenes that I really loved was when Simon and Daphne are on the outs. They attended a concert, which that was another thing that I was really wondering if they were going to do a Smythe Smith kind of thing, like were they going to introduce this other family, which there's kind of a spin-off. I don't know how many books, but Just Like Heaven is one of my favorite Julia Quinns out there. I really love it. I was wondering if they were going to make an appearance, and they did not. But anyway, I really like the scene at the concert, and Daphne realizes that she is not pregnant and she just got her period, and it was pretty devastating, and you could see the emotion in Simon's eyes that he's like causing his wife a lot of pain, and he's really thinking about like what's worth it. My vow to this man that wasn't really part of my life that I hated, or my wife, because his reasons for doing it are the important part of this conversation. So I really like that, and I really wish that Simon would have, I don't know if I want him to be the one to comfort Daphne instead of Violet, kind of. And I wish that there was a little bit more follow-up with Daphne having a conversation with her mother instead of them having a conversation about her forgiving her mother for not letting her know in like one of the markets. They have a lot of very important conversations in the middle of a huge crowd, and it's all very loud and not private. And I'm just like, does nobody hear what's going on? Like, what is going on? Why can everybody not hear this conversation that's happening 2 feet away from them? But that's just like a show critique. They speak very loudly. Lots of shouting scenes. We do get a special appearance from Sir Philip Crane. I don't know how this is all going to play out, because in the books, Philip was actually married to Marina. She was never in love with his brother, and they had children together. And the twins play a big part in Philip's story. So I don't know if that's just not going to make a difference, because if they do make Marina have twins just like the book, then they will be growing up with Philip as their father. So it wouldn't technically make a big difference, honestly. But I guess I don't know how they're going to spin the whole Marina mental health issues, because it was very much stated that she had them before she married Philip. So, and that wasn't really presented in the season 1. So I don't know what they're going to do with that. And then of course at the very end, Anthony makes his intentions clear that he is definitely going to be searching the marriage mart next season, because he does plan to marry, but of course not for love. Like, no, I'm definitely not doing love. And it's because he was burned by Sienna, which he definitely had a hand in. I'm not saying like she wronged him. He very much wronged her. So we shall see what we have in store for season 2 of Bridgerton. I swear I need every single one of these books to be made into a season of Netflix before Netflix decides to just like in the middle of adapting these books to just be like, never mind, no more seasons of Bridgerton. Like, that happens all the time to shows that I love in Netflix, and I don't want it to happen to Bridgerton at all. I want this series to stick it out all the way to the very end. So fingers crossed that this is a very successful TV premiere, and we'll get lots more. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the first season of Bridgerton. Are there any things that you think were really big misses that they should have incorporated from the book to the TV adaptation? Is there something that you felt like was completely superfluous? You didn't like the addition? Most of the additions I liked. I just had a couple issues, mostly pertaining to the main couples of the series, that I didn't like. I like additional side characters being brought into the story and having like a bigger part of it, just like Simon's best friend who was a boxer. I really like that. Like, that was very interesting to me, because it's not messing with any of my HEAs. I don't mind that. So let me know if any of that bothered you, or if you just don't care and you just absolutely loved it, or did you absolutely hate it. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up, and if you're not already subscribed to my channel, make sure that you subscribe to get notified on any future videos that I do. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, life's better with a little HEA. Bye guys.